What is up, loyal lads and ladies? My name is Midnight Wolf, and welcome to another episode of the Wolf on the Field show. In today's episode, we are going to be covering the OU football week 2 preview. So in the next game, they're going to be playing SMU, and so we're going to be talking about them and talk about kind of maybe some expectations, maybe some improvement. How should I word that? Things that we want to see improved, and go from there. And also later on, I am going to be continuing my spreadsheet, but that'll be later on after we cover week 2's preview. I really need to get that spreadsheet done before the week 2 begins, so I'm definitely going to work really hard, and that's why we're starting a little earlier than the last couple of streams. So I got a lot to do. So anyways, yeah, SMU looked pretty good this last weekend. I do have on their ESPN page the game that they played, Louisiana Tech. I'll probably read over some statistics or something just to kind of get an idea of what they look like, and how they can kind of compare to us, and we'll go from there. So I should have brought this up a lot sooner to kind of get my bearings. I literally pulled up their statistics like just now. So should have done that a little sooner, but that's my bad. But anyways, before I get into the statistics of SMU and all that, yeah, no, I think Oklahoma did really well in their last game. And I've already kind of highlighted what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it. But what I hope to see in week 2 is, I like to sum it up with one word: consistency. Now, in the past, we've seen plenty of Oklahoma football teams have all the talent, have all of the plays and everything that they need to win a national championship, yet they suffer in inconsistencies, and they'll be really hot on one game, but then the next game they lay an egg. And we can't have that. If we want to be an elite team, a team that is going to be dominant on the field on both sides of the ball, we're going to need to be consistent. We need to come out on that field on Saturday ready to go, not sleep on any team that we play. We should play every team with a level of intensity that is, nothing more than elite. That is what we kind of want as fans. We want to see our team succeed in the best that they possibly can. But in order to win national champions, you're going to have to come out and you're going to have to look the part in every single game that you play. I don't care if you play the number one or the worst team in the entire college football lineup. You play them as though they're considered the best team in as far as I'm concerned. You play them, and maybe in the fourth quarter, if it's a blowout, you can kind of let up. But I really want to see this game be like a total showing of dominance on both sides of the ball. Now, I'm not going to say I expect a shutout. As great as that would be to start your season off with 2 shutouts, that doesn't normally happen. So I'll keep my expectations a little lower in that regards. But that would be pretty cool to see Oklahoma come out and just dominate both sides of the ball and possibly pitch another shutout, at the very least a blowout. That's what I'm hoping for. Now that being said, SMU, I mean, they look pretty decent. They have decent skilled players, and that's something that we're gonna have to keep an eye out for and not look ahead to any of our future games. We need to take one game at a time. But I don't know. I'm really excited to see what week 2 has to offer. I hope we see improvements. So to kind of, I guess, take it a step further, I want us to be consistent, but I do still want to see improvements. And more specifically, I'm hoping that Oklahoma comes out and improves the total number of sacks that they get. That was one area that was very lacking, unfortunately. And so I'm really hoping that they come out and really put pressure on the quarterback. I'm hoping that they are able to break through the offensive line and get to the QB and at least like make him try to force some throws. And then that way we can also hopefully get some interceptions as well. So, I mean, that's the benefits of putting pressure on a quarterback is not only do you get the opportunity for a sack, but you can also get an opportunity for a fumble. You can get an opportunity for an interception. There is so much that kind of relies on putting pressure on the quarterback. So that is what I'm hopeful for. So, and I don't know, maybe they are trying to hold back on certain plays. Maybe that, they want to, I know like in these first couple of games, they want to try to play as simple football as they possibly can to not give away too much for more challenging opponents. And so they want to, I know they want to limit how much tape they give other players, or other teams rather, but I don't know. I really hope that we see more pressure on the quarterback. I also want to see more pressure on the receivers. Our secondary is gonna need to kind of step it up a little bit, in my opinion. They did really well. Don't get me wrong. They did really well on Saturday, but there were definitely at least 4 or 5 different plays that I can think of where the secondary just seemed to be either lagging behind or just not playing close enough. And if Arkansas State, if their receivers were able to catch the ball, they could have easily gotten a first down and maybe even then some. So I just hope that we can really put pressure in the right areas going into SMU's game. In terms of SMU, I don't really know a whole lot about the history of SMU, if I'm being brutally honest. I know that they have been a decent team in years past, but I don't really know how what their brand, I guess, for lack of a better term, entails. So I really hope that if they are considered what's the word? I kind of lost my train of thought there. But I really hope that we don't sleep on this team. Because they do look like they are pretty solid. And so I don't know, I really look forward to this. Man. All right. I'm kind of getting a little I'm kind of going in circles here, so let me kind of move on. So I did want to kind of go over SMU and their previous game a little bit, in terms of maybe the number of points they did, the point margin and that sort of thing. Kind of really look at what they did in their game and kind of see maybe kind of areas where they what's the word? Excelled at, areas that we need to kind of be concerned about and really focus our attention on. So that's kind of something that I really want to highlight maybe. So let's just kind of dive on in, and I'm going to pull it up on my phone. So I probably should have put it on the screen so that way you guys have something to look at other than my face. But yeah, the final score of SMU versus Louisiana Tech is 38-14 SMU. In terms of certain stats, they had a total of 248 yards passing. They had a total of 209 yards of rushing. So looks like they're fairly balanced in terms of passing and rushing yards. So there's really not a specific area that we need to focus on in regards to like passing and rushing. Looks like we just got to do a good job all around. So we definitely need to take that into consideration for sure as a team. In terms of tackles, they've got 35 solo tackles. They got 6 sacks, which that's kind of that's what I was hoping to see. I was hoping to see Oklahoma come out and do 6 to 8 sacks against Arkansas State. That to me is like elite level defense right there, is 6+ sacks a game. So it looks like they have a pretty solid defense, at least on putting pressure on the quarterback. Now I know it's LA Tech, I get that, but still, you know, they did what they were supposed to do, and I mean that's really all you can ask for. But 6 sacks, that's pretty awesome. Let me see if I can see turnovers. They got 1 interception and didn't see fumble recovery. Oh, it looks like 0 fumbles. Okay. Team. Yeah, I mean that seems pretty decent stats for a season opener. And once again, I know it's LA Tech, but we got to be ready for SMU. We need to definitely take them seriously, because I mean, if they look that good against LA Tech, what's to say that they can't do the same stuff to us? I mean, not to compare us to LA Tech, but I mean, I don't know I don't know how I should word that, but like, I'm blanking here. I do apologize. SMU. Oop, backed out by accident. And I mean, it looks like they. I do apologize. I'm a little all over the place with my thoughts. But in terms of the first half, they definitely dominated the first half. They got 14 points in the first quarter. They got 17 points in the second quarter. So I'm pretty sure that they pulled their starters in the second half. And all the other points that LA Tech got, they all happened in the second quarter. So that tells me that they very easily could have shut out LA Tech. That's pretty good. That's really good. I mean, a shutout is a shutout. Now I know they didn't get it, but they very easily could have. And I feel like that they might have been like possibly saving their best plays and their best performances for future games such as ours. So it might have been a part of their strategy to pull their team in the second half. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm really excited about it. Like, it'll be a good first test of the season. I still think that Oklahoma has the edge there. I think that Oklahoma is still going to be a far better team, a far better opponent. Now, that being said, I do have a prediction, and I had my prediction preseason before we had any information about any of these teams really. And I think it was 30, what did I say? 30 something to 6, I believe. Let me find that real quick. Turn my volume down. Let's see. I do apologize. Here we go. This is the... All right. Yeah, 34 to 6 was my preseason prediction. And I think that it is very possible to achieve that. I don't know, man. I think that I'm on the fence about changing it. I think that it'll be 52 to 10. I think both teams do a little bit better than my preseason prediction. I think that 52 to 10. If we see the Sooners that came out against Arkansas State, if they are as well-oiled of a machine as before, then I think that 52 to 10 is a very reasonable prediction. Now, that being said, I love doing like kind of fun little predictions, but like doing serious predictions, I don't really take any predictions seriously. So I mean, I could be way off on the mark, but I do have a gut feeling that it will be 52 to 10. But don't go to Vegas on that one. That's, I think, way more than the spread. So, but I don't know. I really feel pretty good about it. Even regardless of how good I think SMU is, I think that OU is just simply better. Now, I would say 9 times out of 10, Oklahoma wins this game. But there is still that one time out of 10 that SMU could come out on top. And so it could happen. And that would be very unfortunate. But it would be what it would be. And we'll just have to live with that and hopefully improve upon it and get better. But I really feel strongly that 52 to 10 is attainable. And maybe I could see maybe giving SMU another touchdown. So maybe it could be 17 52-17. But I really feel good about 52-10. So let me know what you guys think of that kind of prediction. Am I being way too optimistic, or am I being too I don't know, what am I praising SMU too much? Am I overhyping SMU up too much? Outside of my prediction, of course, because my prediction kind of looks very lopsided, but I do respect SMU. I think that they're a really good team. And like I said, on any given day, SMU can win this ball game. But I do think that Oklahoma is the better team. And so that's really, I guess, all I can really say about that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to have to deal with the ESPN Plus fiasco stuff, because that's always fun dealing with the new technologies and stuff like that. But I don't know, maybe it'd be a good Buffalo Wild Wings game. Sometimes that's kind of been a tradition of ours in our family, is when we play like a pay-per-view game, or in this case it's going to be ESPN Plus, we would just go to Buffalo Wild Wings and watch it there or something like that. And also we tend to, if we don't actually get to go to OU Texas game, we normally go to Buffalo Wild Wings on that game as well. But I don't know, that might be something that I do this weekend. So I definitely look forward to it. I think that it'll be a blast. If SMU does somehow win this game, I hope at least Oklahoma puts up a good fight. I hope it's a good game. I hope it's a game that could, like, goes back and forth, if it's even close. I really hope that it's not one of those games where OU just gets embarrassed. And I don't know, time will tell. I don't think that will happen, but I could be wrong. We don't have a whole lot of information to go off of. We just have one game to go off of. But this, I think, will give us a little bit better picture of what kind of Oklahoma team we have. And that being said, I know, like, last year we looked really good in our non-conference games, and then it wasn't until we played Kansas State that they kind of showed us our true colors. But I think that SMU might be a tougher opponent than those first 3 games that we had last year. So I don't know. It's one of those things, especially early in the season. It's really hard to really know what kind of team you have, especially if you don't schedule a tougher opponent in your non-conference games, which I really hope Oklahoma does a better job when they go to the SEC. I know we already have a difficult schedule next year as is, but I hate this 3-game stretch of mediocre teams that OU is supposed to blow out. Now sometimes that doesn't necessarily happen, but the team, like, I hate having these little mediocre games. I really like the headliner games, and also it helps with the whole quality win / quality loss arguments that people like to throw out in the conversation of playoff contenders. Now, that being said, with the college football playoff expansion, we may not even really have to worry about that anymore, because that's a lot of slots that would be up for grabs. And if there's one thing that Oklahoma has consistently done, is finish the season top 10, so they're almost guaranteed a spot, unless they just do terrible in the SEC. That would be the only downfall. But Yeah, I mean, that's really all I have in terms of the week 2 preview. I really want to I just really want to see consistency and a few improvements in the certain areas that I mentioned. That's really all I care to see. But now for the, well, I don't know. Let me know if you guys kind of enjoy this the poll part of that I've been going through, like my little spreadsheet. Let me know how you guys feel about me showcasing that. Now, I don't plan on doing this every single week. That'd be just a ton of work, and I just don't have the energy right now to be able to do the spreadsheet every single week. But I do want to do the spreadsheet at least week 1. So I'm gonna work on that and hopefully finish it today. And my goal is to finish it today, and that's kind of why I started the stream a little earlier, is so I could get to that done, like get it done by tomorrow. And if I don't get it done tomorrow, I want to be very close to being done, so that way I can get all that information finished before the week 2 games begin, because I'm pretty sure like some of the games will start on Friday. So I want to make sure that I get everything done before any of those stats get inputted. I don't think, I mean, with how I've been dealing with ESPN statistics the last several days, they kind of take their time on getting information inputted into their website. So I don't know, maybe I'll have plenty of time even if games begin. But my goal is to get it done tonight. And if I don't get it done tonight, get it done soon, tomorrow afternoon sometime. So yeah, so there's that. So if you guys just came for the preview, now would be the time to cut out. I might take like a quick little, I might take like a quick little break, like kind of like a little intermission time. Maybe kind of make sure I get well hydrated because I was out in the sun all day. So I'll do that. Then I'll come right back and we'll just dive right on into the poll. So and I'll just start filling out things. If you guys want to stick around and talk about college football in the live chat, by all means, that's what it's there for, is for you guys to engage with me, and we'll talk about some college football together. If you guys have any questions you want to ask, I would love to be able to answer some questions, college football related. And I don't know, maybe throughout the this segment, I kind of want to also do a little bit of other games in week 2 in terms of my like kind of predictions. So I might like get to a good like stopping point, and take a break from the data entry stuff, and then kind of give my predictions of other games that are big. Like I really kind of want to talk about Alabama and Texas a little bit. So since that's kind of the highlighted game of the week. So yeah, that's what we'll do here in just a little bit, but we'll do a quick little intermission. I'll go get hydrated, get some water, and then I'll come right back and we'll get started on the spreadsheet. So you guys, I appreciate it if you guys take off. I really appreciate you coming by, and if you don't mind, definitely save this video to your watch later list or whatever. and come back and see what the results are. It could be in this video that we get our final results for week 1. And so feel free to save this video and come back, and you don't even have to watch the whole thing. Just come back to the very end where we reveal where teams lie on my poll. So yeah, thank you guys so much, and I will be right back. Rhythm. I think I found a good solid, what's the word? I think I found a good solid method for how I do this, as efficient as possible. So hopefully it'll go smoothly, and we'll try to get all these teams ranked. My goal is to have it done. So let's just go ahead and hop right on in. Once again, I just want to reiterate, if you guys want to send any kind of live chat message, of just kind of spark a discussion while I do this, by all means, please. That's what live chat's for, is for you guys to hop in and give your 2 cents on something, or maybe earlier from my prediction, you think that my prediction is outrageous. Let me hear it. I want to know what you guys think of my prediction of 52-10 against SMU. But yeah, so let's just go ahead and we're gonna get started. So we left off at Central Michigan. That was our, well, not necessarily Central Michigan because we did like rearrange the teams based on the rank, but we ended pretty solid. Let's see, in terms of number, we've done 64 teams so far, or actually probably 61, because I forgot the first couple of rows are the headings and stuff like that. So about 62 teams we've done, and so we've got quite a few left to go, but I think it's doable. I think it's attainable, and I don't know, let's see, let's put a goal here. If we get to USA, let's get all the way down to South Florida. When I hit South Florida, right before I get to Texas, that's roughly the halfway point just by looking at it. Once I get to Texas, after I finish South Florida, we're going to talk about Texas and Alabama and kind of my expectations for that game, just a little bit. And if you guys have any other games that you guys would like for me to kind of give a prediction on, by all means in the chat, let me know, and I will try to come up with a good solid prediction that I think is, what's the word, that I think is fair. And I'll, you know, if it's two teams that I'm not too totally familiar with on how they did in week 1, I'll definitely look that information up, so that way I can kind of come up with a good solid reasoning for my prediction. But yeah, that's kind of the game plan. We're going to try to get down to South Florida, and then once we're about to do Texas, we will do that. And then once I reach, let's see, Georgia Tech is the last one. Once I reach Georgia Tech, that doesn't necessarily mean we're done just yet, because there are some teams like from week 0 that I'm going to have to go back and find and input their week 1 data, because they were already they already had information in this, and I started on the first 0 row. If that made sense. And so there were probably teams from week 0 that I haven't gotten their week 1 stats. So yeah, so anyways, I think I've procrastinated long enough. Let's just go ahead and get started. So we're on to UTSA, the Roadrunners. So we need to figure out if they won, points scored, all that good stuff. So we're gonna click on the link. Looks like they lost to Houston 17-14. So we're gonna go ahead and input that information. So they have 1 loss. They scored 14 points. They had a point margin of -3 since they lost. Then the next stat will be sacks. So let's go ahead and go to statistics. They got a total of 3 sacks and 0 interceptions. 3 sacks, 0 interceptions. I already have tackles for loss statistics. Now we'll move on to touchdowns, field goals, all that good stuff. So, stats. 14 points, so that's accurate. They got 2 touchdowns and 22 first downs. 22 first downs. Total yards, they got 417 and 0 field goals. So let's see, total yards 417. So 0 field goals, 417. And all right, they're done. So now we're on to Liberty. So Liberty beat Bowling Green 34-24. They have a win. They scored 34 points. And because they won their game, they get a positive point margin of 10. Total sacks. They had 2 sacks, 5 interceptions. Holy cow. So 2 sacks and 5 interceptions. So 2 sacks and 5 turnovers. I got a lot of interceptions on that game. Yet it was still a very close game. That's impressive. All right. So now we can go back to touchdowns. So they got 4 touchdowns. First downs. They got 22 first downs. Oh. How did I end up on Liberty again? Something's not right there. That was weird. Oh wait, am I on? Oh, I am on. Oh, my bad. I got confused for a second there. Alright. 22 first downs. It was the 22 because like that was what that's what UTSA had, was 22 first downs. That threw me off. All right. Total yards, 389 yards. And how many field goals? 2 out of 2. Nice. 2 field goals. All right, cool. So we already got 2 done. That's not bad. Now TCU. I know they lost. (45-42) against Colorado. Lost. 1. They got 42 points. They get a -3 point margin. Number of sacks. They got 4 sacks and 1 turnover. All right, and then TCU got they got 6 touchdowns, 27 first downs. So 6, 27. They've got total yards 541. Total yards. And in terms of field goals, they are 0 for 1. So 0 field goals, so TCU's done. All right, now we're on to Tulane. So Tulane won against South Alabama, 37-17. I remember the year that Tulane came. It was supposed to be, we were supposed to go to Tulane, but there was a hurricane that went through there, and so they had to move the game to Norman, but they played it as though it was a home game for Tulane. But I think there were like way more OU fans than Tulane fans. But it was still cool. It was still neat that Norman did that. All right, Notice once again, it was 37-17, so 37. So 37-17, that'd be a 10-point margin. Wait, 20 points. Yeah, 20 points, not bad. I think that sun fried my brain today. A little scattered brain. Alright, total sacks. They've got 5 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 3 fumble recoveries, so 5 and 5. Wow. That's crazy. 5 and 5. See, that's the kind of stats I would love to see OU get right there on sacks and turnovers. 5 sacks. 5 turnovers. That's crazy. See, if we saw that many sacks and that many turnovers, I'd be like, this is the OU team we've been wanting. But because they didn't get that, they were almost perfect, but not quite. All right, so number of touchdowns. They scored 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns and 16 first downs. In terms of total yards, they got 436. Field goals, they were 3 for 3. All right, Tulane is now done. So we already got 4 teams done. So we got a good rhythm going now. Can't wait to do Oklahoma and see where they end up. Tulane, they jumped up to 16 so far. Granted, we're not done yet, so they'll probably move, but all right, UCF. Oh, another Big 12 team. See, UCF is another team that actually kind of concerns me a little bit on our schedule. So we play Cincinnati. That's kind of going to be the first team that concerns me, just because it's in Cincinnati and they actually did really well in their game. Then of course you've got Texas, which I still think Texas is overrated this year, but time will tell. See how they do against Alabama. But Texas kind of concerns me a little bit. And then UCF is now, like, it used to be BYU. I wasn't too impressed with what BYU did. I mean, they still did decent, but they weren't crazy. But UCF, I mean, Kent State actually played us really decent last year, considering. I think it was last year. Whichever year that we played Kent State. I want to say it was last year. They played us pretty well, but UCF, they handled them pretty solidly. So I don't know. UCF could be a team in the Big 12 that we should keep an eye out for. But thankfully we don't play them until later in the season, so we'll have time to get all of our kinks out. I'm sure they'll get a lot of their kinks taken care of. I just hope injuries don't become a factor, but we did see that we had pretty awesome depth, at least against Arkansas State. So injuries may be an issue of you know, who has fewer injuries in this game. So I don't know, that might be interesting to see. But yeah, I look forward to seeing this game, UCF versus Oklahoma. So anyways, 56-6. That's pretty good. That's really good. 156. I don't think I can do this point margin in my head. Total yard sacks. Here we go. That's the so we'll go to statistics now. All right. They got 4 sacks, 1 interception, and 0 fumbles. So 4 and 1. 4 sacks, 1 turnover. All right, touchdowns. All right, total touchdowns. They got 8 touchdowns. They got 32 first downs. Dang. Total yards, 723. Holy cow. Yeah, I think UCF could be something special. Honestly, I am shocked that the rankings didn't put them higher, or like in the top 25 after that performance. I mean, I know it's Kent State, but like I said, Kent State played us decent in whichever year it was. I think it was last year. They played us pretty well. So for UCF to just blow the socks off of them and get 723 total yards of offense, that's crazy. Zero field, they did 0 field goal attempts the entire game. Golly. I'm starting to respect UCF a little bit more. Not gonna lie. People say that OU had an easy Big 12 schedule. I kind of am starting to beg to differ on that one. UCF looks pretty decent, pretty stout. All right. Now we're on to UConn. UConn do it. They lost to NC State. Now, funny thing about NC State, I do like NC State. They're kind of my secondary team. So I was raised Oklahoma fan my entire life. NC State is a team that I've come to love in recent years. Well, I say that last year is when I really started to like NC State as a secondary team. So I really hope they do great. And for obvious reasons, they're the Wolf Pack. I mean, best animal in all of the animal kingdom. But anyways, I'm rambling. NC State. So UConn lost to NC State 24-14. So they have a loss. One loss. Points scored, it was 14. Point margin minus 10. And then number of sacks. 24-14. Yep. Alright. Statistics. They got 1 sack and 0 turnovers. So 1 sack, 0 turnovers. They got Probably 2 touchdowns, I would imagine. Yep, 2 touchdowns, which means 0 field goals and 15 first downs. So 2 touchdowns, 15 first downs, and total yards 273. All right, cool. So that one is done. So we're making pretty decent progress now. So said I was gonna make it all the way down to South Florida. We're already at Utah. So we've got a decent amount left to go before our break, and then we'll talk about Texas and Alabama a little bit. All right, Utah, Utes. All right, cool. So Utah beat Florida 24-11. So not a crazy impressive win, but a win is a win. 24-11. That was the thing about Florida, is they like really shot themselves in the foot. I did watch that game, and they really, see, 24 minus 11 would be 13. So yeah, 13 point margin. Yeah, they really shot themselves in the foot really badly, because they had really dumb penalties. Like, I think there was a punt opportunity, if I remember right. I think it was Florida. Pretty sure it was Florida, where they had they were gonna, or Utah was gonna punt the ball, but then somebody came in, or 2 players came in with the same number, and so because of that, it's like a 5-yard penalty, and that made it to where Utah got a first down. It's like, that's not really a player problem, that's a coaching problem. If you can't manage your team to know what players have what number, that's on the coaching staff at that point. Like, that was kind of ridiculous. Let's see. Oop. All right, number of sacks. So they've got five sacks, 1 interception, and 0 fumbles. So 5-1. Okay. Now let's look at touchdowns. Utah. They've got 3 touchdowns and 14 first downs. All right. Oh, total yards 270. Total yards. And then field goals 1 out of 2. All right, cool. So Utah is done. wow, even with a win, they're still really highly ranked. See that, and that's the problem with my model. I definitely acknowledge that. It was a great defensive game, and I didn't really highlight that in my model, in this model, but next year I will definitely get more criteria for defense, because I feel like a win against Florida, that's pretty good. I mean, it may not be a good Florida team, but I don't know. It's 45. That seems really, really high for a team who won their game. But I mean, they didn't get very many first downs, which was kind of crazy. I mean, they only scored 24 points against 11. So it was a decent football game. Anyways, now we're on to Duke, which probably the upset of at least the first half of the year is right here. This was a major shock for sure. Duke beat Clemson 28-7. Like, it wasn't just like a, hey, Duke was able to stay in this game. That game was all Duke. And so it cracks me up. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I kind of love it when the teams that have been in major dynasties for so many years now fall flat. Like, it gives me joy. I mean, I like Dabby Sweeney. He's a great coach, but I love it. I love seeing teams go down that has been in recent memory very good. So it makes more room for other programs to have the spotlight. So I like seeing stuff like that. I hope we see more of that, like with Bama and Ohio State. Even Ohio State didn't really look that great this week. Maybe that will improve. I know, like in past seasons rather, they in past seasons they've struggled in the first part of the season, and then by the end of the season they were like really good. So I think that they will do all right. What's the spreadsheet? Oh, so far I've gotten all this many teams done. I'm not even gonna count it, but like close to 70 teams done at this point. So I don't know if you've seen it. Sounds like you want OU to lose. I don't want them to lose. I think that SMU looks pretty good. But in terms of the spreadsheet, I don't know if you've watched the lot or want any of the spreadsheet videos yet, but if you have, this explanation is probably redundant, but I have this spreadsheet with different criteria that that awards each team a certain amount of points, and I'm going through and inputting all that data, and it's spitting out a point, and basically whoever has the highest number of points is the highest rank. And this has been a multi-part series, now part 3 of week 1, and so far the top 10 teams that are on here is Ole Miss, Syracuse, Cincinnati, California, Auburn, Memphis, Arkansas, Alabama, and USC. And I will say, I will say, like, this spreadsheet is not complete in terms of, like, it's kind of a prototype, if you will. So this is like the first of its kind for me, and next year I will have more criteria on the defense, because really this spreadsheet really kind of rewards really good offensive teams and doesn't really reward good defensive teams enough. They definitely contribute, but they don't contribute a lot, and so I need to definitely balance that a little bit more. So it'll definitely affect the teams for sure in terms of where they rank. But it's my first one. Next year will be a lot more accurate. Another blowout calling it. I hope so. I mean, that I'm calling it too. I think it'll be 52-10, but I mean, I feel like it's kind of one of those games where 9 times out of 10 OU would win, but I still fear that 1 out of 10 times that OU could lose this game. So that's kind of why I'm like, I really respect SMU. I think that they've got something possibly going this year, and so I say that because I don't want to get my hopes up, and I kind of want OU to be like, hey, we should sleep on this team, and so I really want to preach that like, please do not sleep on SMU, because if you let your guard down, if you look ahead, you're going to mess up. And I want them to stay focused. I want them to be ready to go for this game, and let's beat them down early on, and then halftime, if they want to slack off a little bit as a reward. I mean, I don't think that's an elite team if you slack off, but I mean, if it's a blowout, it's a blowout kind of thing. Yeah, I was gonna say 50-60 something to 17. Yeah, I was like on the fence about giving SMU 17 points. For me, it's a toss up between 10 and 17. I think that that's a solid amount that they could get, but my preseason prediction was like 36-6 or something like that. But after seeing week 1, I think SMU has a little bit better offense than what I was expecting, and I think we have a much better offense than what I was expecting. So that's kind of why I'm raising the points a little bit on both sides. But anyways, so but yeah, what I'm doing is I'm just going through and I'm inputting the data from the ESPN website, and whenever we finish it all, I'll go back and we will see where these teams end up after week 1, and then that's what my rank will be. I'm not going to do this every week just because it's a lot of work to do this, so I am going to do it week 1, and then probably at the halfway point of the season, and then I will for sure do it one last time at the end of the season, so that way we'll see where everybody ends up. You're not wrong. My prediction for OU, I mean, I should have specified that they would score 48-17 in the first half. At least for OU side, I would have been pretty accurate. But I mean, when it comes to a preseason poll, I mean, you're kind of shooting in the dark on that one. So that's kind of where that prediction came from. I was just like, they were this good last year. I'm gonna say they improve a little bit and then throw out a random guess as to what I think. But there was really no solid concrete evidence that supported my 48-17 prediction against Arkansas State. I'm glad they proved me wrong. Though, like, I would rather predict that we lose that game and be proven right. And so I hope that, like, even my other predictions, like against Texas and TCU, like, I'm pretty confident at this point that we'll beat TCU, but like, I did predict to lose to those two teams, and so I hope, just like in the first prediction, I'm wrong, in other words. So anyways, now we're on to Duke. All right, so Duke won 28-7. So they beat Clemson. There's 1. Points scored. 28-7. That would be a 21-point margin. And then we've got total sacks. Let's fill that one in first before doing this touchdowns. All right. They've got 2 sacks and 2 fumble recoveries. So 2 and 2. Then on touchdowns, they've got probably 4. Okay, so that is possibly wrong. Let's see, make sure. They got 2 field goals. That'd be 6 points plus 21. That'd be 27. That doesn't make any sense. Unless they went for, maybe they went for 2 and failed on one of those touchdowns. So 3 touchdowns, that would be 21 or 20 if they failed, and then 2, that'd be 26. Maybe they went for 2? How would they end up with 28? Did they go for a 2-point conversion? That doesn't make sense. Because 3, that would be 21. Unless they went for 2 and got it, then that'd be 22. And then the field goals would make sense. Field goal attempts 2. They got 2 for 2. So that would be 6 points. Yeah, they must have went for 2 and got it at some point. And I just didn't see that. Alright, I'm just going to go with it. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Hopefully they get... I mean, this first poll really doesn't totally matter. It's really what happens at the end of the season. So I would imagine they would have the entire season to get these stats fine-tuned and fixed. So I'm not too worried about it right now, but I'm going to just record it as it's shown, and hopefully it gets sorted if that is not accurate. But that seems weird. That's a weird... The way they got 28 points is kind of odd. So, all right, so 3 touchdowns and 17 first downs. They got 2 field goals. And 17 first downs. And in terms of total yards, they've got 374. All right, we are done with Duke. Duke Nukem. Gamers will probably get that reference. All right, Florida Atlantic. Duke nuked Clemson. There you go. All right, Florida Atlantic beat Monmouth. I hope I pronounced that right. Monmouth, Monmouth, 42-20. So Florida Atlantic, they got 1 point in the win category. What did I say they were? It was 42-20. So 42-20. So that'd be a 22, positive 22 margin. They've got how many sacks? They've got 1 sack and 1 turnover. 1-on-1. All right, now touchdowns. That's like 6, yeah, 6 touchdowns. First downs, they got 22. Total yards, they got 493. And total field goals, I don't think they got one, but just to make sure, yeah. So they are good there. And all right, yeah. So now Florida Atlantic is done. Georgia Southern. So we're almost at Oklahoma. I look forward to seeing where Oklahoma lands. But I have a feeling Oregon might jump them because they scored like 80 something points. So they may jump Oklahoma. All right, Georgia Southern. So, oh wow, Georgia Southern got a shutout against Citadel. They got 34-0. Go Georgia Southern. 34-0. So that means they got a positive point margin of 34. Total sacks. They've got 1 sack and 1 turnover. Excuse me. 1 and 1. I'm also gonna go through each category to see, okay, other than of course like wins and losses, because there's not enough statistical data to figure out who's got the most wins. I mean, obviously we can clearly see that, but like see who got the most points scored so far in the season, who's got the highest point margin, who's got the most touchdowns, who's got the most field goals, who's got the most first downs, who's got the most total yards, who's got the most sacks, and who's got the most turnovers, and who's got the most tackles for loss. So those will be things that once I finish this, we will see where everybody ranks, and then we'll also kind of see where everybody lies on those different categories too. So that's another cool aspect of this spreadsheet is we can rank teams based off of their points, or we can rank teams based on these other criteria. So I want to, see who's got the most in different parts of the game, and that'll kind of give you a good idea, as well as like who's got like a better offense. So yeah, it'd be cool to figure some of that out. All right. So we got sacks. All right. Now we're on to touchdowns. All right, they got 4 touchdowns and 29 first downs, so 4 and 29, 4. Go to yards. They've got 473. Total number of field goals. 2 for 2. All right, Georgia Southern is done. Woohoo, we're getting close. We also get to look at Ohio State soon. See how they did. All right, Miami, Florida. All right, Miami, Florida beat Miami, Ohio, 38-3. So they won. $38-3, so that'd be 35-point margin. Oops. Number of sacks. There's 3 sacks and 0 turnovers. Then we've got more touchdowns. We've got 4 touchdowns and 26 first downs. 4 and 26. Total yards. They've got 493. Wow, they got the same amount of yards as Florida Atlantic. And now field goals. 3 for 3. I was trying to see something if I like inputted a data, if I didn't have to just double click, if I could just click on the cell and type in a number, if it would automatically put it on into the formula, but it doesn't look like it does. Looks like it just overrides the whole formula. All right. that would have been nice to know if it worked. That would have been nice to know like a lot sooner. Then I wouldn't. It would probably have taken me like half the time to do all of this. All right. So Miami, Florida is now done. Now we've got North Texas. Texas has just too many teams. Like they could have just a league of their own. North Texas lost to California 58-21. So they get a L. They scored 21 points. 58-21 is 37. Right? 37 minus 37. 58. 8. Yep, 58. Yep. There we go. Sacks. Statistics. They got 0 sacks, 1 interception, and 1 fumble. So 0 sacks and 2 turnovers. All right. TDs. They scored 3 touchdowns and got 10 first downs. So 3 and 10. And 10. And then total yards 225. I don't think your live chat box has enough room, in my opinion. I appreciate the feedback. I will fix that. Is it hard to read? I'm sure it's probably hard to read. I will definitely fix that. In the next stream, I will scoot it over a little bit. Thank you for pointing that out to me. And what's up, Dismer? Nice to see you again. This is my face. I think this might be the first video that you've seen that you've come to see my face. All right. I think I got everything. Oh wait, did I do field goals? I don't think they got a field goal. Yep, 0. So now we're on to Ohio State, which they didn't really look too impressive in their game. Not gonna lie. Yeah, I say barely. They beat Indiana by 20 points, but it was a very brutal 20 points. Like it just was. They didn't look as dominant as what we've seen Ohio State be. So I don't know. It could be just first game jitters, but I don't know. We have seen other Ohio State teams in the past start their season really terribly or not good, but then be really amazing by the end. So I think that they will still be in the conversation, provided they keep winning their games. But definitely something to be interesting to see how Ohio State does. I personally hope they lose. I hope they get knocked out of the conversation, but they probably won't. But who knows? We'll see what happens. But Indiana, 23. Oh, hey, yeah, it is the first one. Had to go back and see if I had missed a face reveal or something else. Yeah, so I didn't really do a full an official face reveal. I straight up just was like, what the heck, and just on a random stream, just like, hey, how's it going? So, yeah, this is what I look like. So I know you've been following me for quite some time now, and you've heard my voice, but um, now you get to see my face and in all of its ugliness. But yeah, no, I'm kind of rebranding or changing gears a little bit. I still want to do video game type stuff, but that's gonna be on the back burner for a while. I think I'm a little burnt out on video games for right now, and I think I'm kind of taking a little break from video games altogether. So I'll eventually get back to it, and I really want to, do more streams and that sort of thing. But I'm switching gears to college football talk, and we'll kind of see where it goes. I'm really excited about this, and I think that this is a good topic to discuss. So if you will have any like feedback on college football yourself, by all means, throw something in the live chat. If you don't know much about college football, that's okay too. Um, if you want me to explain something, I will totally do so. But yeah. Does that mean no more Star Citizen? It does not mean no more Star Citizen. I'm really burnt out on Star Citizen. For now, I just I'm really wanting them to get it to a more complete state before I continue on. So like when server meshing comes online and uh they get it polished and at least towards a playable state, I will most likely pop back into Star Citizen at that point. But I'm definitely trying to wait until that because I think that that'll give them time to really iron out a lot of the bugs that is plaguing Star Citizen. And so it does mean we're gonna put that on pause. But in terms of sports talk or mainly college football, college football is really the only sport I care about. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. All right. Um, Ohio State 23-3. So we'll go and fill that information. So they have a win. They scored 23. They had a point margin of 20. They How many sacks did they get? They got 1 sack and 0 turnovers. In terms of touchdowns, they've got 2 touchdowns. That mean they got a lot of 3 field goals. 2 touchdowns would be 14. Then they got 3 field goals. That would be 9. 14 plus 9. Okay, that makes sense. All right, 2 touchdowns. They've got 3 field goals. They've got 22 first downs. And total yards, they've got 380. All right. Making some progress. All right, we finally made it to Oklahoma. I've been waiting for this one. I want to see where we end up. I know we won. I know we scored 73 points. I know we shut them out. So 73 point margin. Let's see, how many touchdowns did they get? Statistics. I guess before touchdowns. I know they got 1 sack and 1 fumble. So they got, darn it. One sack and 1 fumble. All right, and then now we'll input how many touchdowns they got. Total touchdowns, they've got 10 touchdowns. That's crazy. 10 touchdowns. How many first downs? They got 36 first downs. My goodness. They've got 642 yards and how many field goals? 1 for 1 on field goals. Wow, and we're still not number 1. That's amazing. Is the total yards. They guess, I mean, they and the sacks and turnovers. I think that's what we're gonna see, very similar points. I was curious about that. See where we would end up. So we're top 3, at least at this point. Now that will probably change. I think Oregon might bump us down. We're probably gonna be 4. I bet Oregon will be the team that bumps us down. Excuse me. But I'm happy with that. To be ranked number 3. So hopefully we stay in that spot. To be honest, I don't know anything about college, but I still somehow find the streams entertaining. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So now we're on Penn State. So we're going to make our way. Let's see how many more teams we got. How many have I done? We started at UTSA. Done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Done 14 so far. Ooh, I gotta pick up the pace. All right. And we're gonna make our way down to South Florida. Whew, that's a lot of teams. That is a lot of teams. All right, Penn State. Nittany Lions. They beat West Virginia 38-15. Now, I feel like Penn State's a little overrated here. Like on whenever the AP poll came out for week 1, I just feel like they're just too highly ranked right now. I mean, they kind of struggled against West Virginia, which historically has not been the greatest Big 12 team. So I don't know. I know it's the first game, but I feel like they're a little highly ranked after week 1's poll, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. 38-15 wins a win. So they got 1 38 38 point margin 38-15 be 15 plus 8 23. Yeah, 23. No. Yeah, 23. 23 of sacks. 3 sacks. Yeah, just 3 sacks. 0 turnovers. How many touchdowns? They got 5 touchdowns and 27 first downs. 5 and 27. All right. Total yards. 478. And field goals. They are 1 for 3. All right, cool. Penn State is done. Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh beat Wofford 45-7. One. Points scored. What did I say? I said 45-7. That'd be a third. No. 39. No, 36. Right? 30. 38. Yeah, 38 point margin. Yeah. All right. Number of sacks. They've got 4 sacks and 1 fumble recovery. So 4 and 1. 4 and 1 turnover. Right. Number of touchdowns. So they got 6 touchdowns and 30 first downs. So 6 and 30. 6 and 30. Total yards. We got 491. Just realized my little dial was down on volume. Do I sound better? Have I been really quiet this whole time? I hope not. That would really stink. All right. I probably just got like 1,000 times louder. And then field goals. How many field goals they get? 1 for 1. All right. Getting closer. Texas Tech. Texas Tech lost to Wyoming 35-33. Yeah, it's been really quiet, but I could still hear you pretty well. That is my bad. For some reason, the dial on my microphone kind of got twisted. It's very sensitive. It's really easy to twist by accident. It's kind of a weird placement. It's like on the bottom right here. And like I guess whenever I'm moving around and stuff, it's easy to bump. Cuz I've done that a couple times already now. All right. They lost. But thank you for letting me know that. Points scored. What was it? It was 33. And it was 33, 35? Yeah, 35. So a negative 2-point margin. Sacks. They've got 2 sacks and 2 turnovers. Total number of touchdowns. They've got 4 touchdowns and 26 first downs, so 4 and 26. All right, and total yards 431. Oh. How did I get off? Okay, there we go. Total yards 431. And number of field goals. They've got 2 for 5. I'm just impressed that they had 5 attempts. I thought that maybe you just got a new mic or something. I mean, I did, like, I haven't really gotten the chance to use this microphone a lot. Back in the gaming days. So, I mean, I say that. Well, yeah, no, it was because I started Star Citizen Season 2, and that was with the new microphone, I think. I could be wrong. Maybe I have had it longer than what I thought. But Yeah, no, it's just really easy to accidentally bump. All right. Western Kentucky. South Florida. So Western Kentucky beat South Florida 41-24. So they get a win. And I said it was 41. So 41-24. So 41 minus 24. 11, 7, 3, that's 2, 17. 17 total total sacks. Statistics. All right. So they've got 5 sacks, 2 interceptions, and 1 fumble recovery, so 5 and 3. 5 sacks, 3 turnovers. And total TDs. They got 5 touchdowns, 22 first downs, so 5 and 22. Total yards, they got 465. Number of field goals. Field goal attempts, 2 for 2. All right, Western Kentucky is complete. And I could have sworn I already done this one. I could have sworn I've already done these 2. I guess I haven't. Maybe it was no, because there would be W's. Wow, what am I thinking? Maybe I'm thinking of Eastern Michigan and Eastern Kentucky. Is that a thing? Maybe. Yeah, Eastern Michigan. Is there an Eastern Kentucky? I didn't see one. I just, for whatever reason, remember Kentucky and Michigan together. All right. We're almost to South Florida. So close. We've got, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We got 13 more to go to get to South Florida. And then after that, how many more do I need to do? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 19, 20, 21. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So like 33, 34 after that. Whew. And I've only done... Yeah, I was hoping to be done by the end of the day, but we might just make it to... We might just make it to South Florida, because the 30-something teams after that, that's a lot of teams to do. I was really hoping to have this done by tonight, but it's definitely taking me longer than I expected to go through these teams. I mean, there's 133 teams. That's a lot of teams. That's a lot of data to have to do. That's why next year I not only am I going to add more criteria to defense, but I'm going to find a way to automate this stuff somehow. I'm just gonna have to figure that out, because this takes some time for sure. And if I can figure out a way to automatically have Google spreadsheet communicate with ESPN's website and kind of siphon that data off of ESPN's website and put it onto my spreadsheet, that would make this instant. And it would be up to date from week to week too. And I wouldn't have to do anything. I would probably, all I would have to do is click a button and it would run the program and it would completely update everything. So I'm going to definitely figure that out before next year. Because yeah, I was gonna try to do this every single week, and now I'm seeing how this is not a viable thing to do every single week. It takes way too much time to do. But I will do this 3 times this season for sure. But when I finish it, I can say I went through the pain of manually inputting all this information. But next year, I'm going to definitely try to find a way to automate it so I don't have to sit here for hours at a time inputting all this data, because this is a lot of data. So, but we're getting kind of a clearer picture on where teams are going to end up on this ranking list. So at least after week 1. So I'm definitely excited about seeing the results. And I'll probably work on figuring out after this week. I will probably figure out how to automate it, and I might actually get the automation thing working this year, even if I can figure it out. If that's the case, then I will probably post more of these throughout the year. But yeah, no, this will be a lot of work for sure if I try to do it every single week. But we're almost there. Yeah, today I am going to just get to South Florida, and I will leave out Texas. And then we'll see where these teams rank, and then I will call it a night. And then, I mean, it's going to stink because I think there'll be games going on Friday. And I was hoping to have this done by week 2. So I'm definitely late to the party, but it'll be worth it in the end. I definitely look forward to seeing where these teams end up, and then we'll go from there. So let's just finish this out real quick. So we're going to get to South Florida. So let's do this. All right. Western Michigan. So they beat wow. They beat St. Francis, PA 35-17. So they've got a win. $35 minus 17. Is that 28? Is that right? No. Go drop to be 18. Wow, that was a simple math. Yeah. I should have already known that one. They teach you that in like elementary. I was like, well, maybe not elementary, but they definitely teach you some of that easy math. All right. Definitely getting a lot more distracted this one. Let's try to get focused here and let's try to finish this out real quick. All right, sacks. All right, they got 3 sacks and 0 turnovers. All right, total touchdowns. They've got 5 touchdowns and 29. So 5 and 29. 5. 29 first downs. Total yards. 509. And field goals. 0. All right, so 0 field goals. So they're done. Now Florida State. Now Florida State looked pretty good. They beat LSU 45-24. All right, 45 minus 24 be 21. All right, number of sacks. Statistics. I got 4 sacks, 1 interception, and 1 fumble recovery, so 4 and 2. Okay. Number of touchdowns. They've got 6 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns and 22 first downs, so 6 and 22. And first downs. Total yards, they got 494. Number of field goals. They've got 1 for 1. All right. Now we're on to Georgia State. $42.35. $42. $42 minus 35. 7. of sacks. They've got 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, and that's it. So 2 and 2. 2 sacks, 2 turnovers. They've scored 6 touchdowns and 20 first downs. So 6 and 20. Total yards 424. And field goals 0 for 0. All right, Houston. Houston beat UTSA 17-14. That'd be a 3-point margin. Number of sacks. Houston got 1 sack, 3 interceptions, and 0 fumbles. So 1 sack and 3 turnovers. All right. Total touchdowns. They've got 2 touchdowns and 19 first downs. So 2 and 19. Oops. 2 and 19. Total yards. They've got 334. And field goals. They got 1 for 2. All right, cool. So Houston's done. So we're so close. So close to being done for the day. Oh, goodness. Okay. So we got Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Monroe, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, New Mexico, Oregon State, and then South Florida. So we're almost there. And then I'll wrap things up with talking about Texas and Alabama. Excuse me. All right. Illinois. They beat Toledo 30-28. $30-28. So that'd be a 2-point margin. Number of sacks. One sack and 1 interception. So 1 and 1. Total touchdowns. They got 4 touchdowns and 21 first downs. So 4 and 21. All right, total yards 374. In terms of field goals, they've got 1 for 1. All right, Illinois is done. Indiana. Indiana lost to Ohio State 23-3. So they lost. Scored. They get a negative 20 points. Oops. Let's do number of sacks. Zero sacks, 1 interception. So they get 1 turnover. Total touchdowns. They've got 0 touchdowns. They got 8 first downs. They got 1 field goal. And how many yards? Total yards 153. Ouch. That's got to be the worst amount of yards I've seen. So Ohio State's defense looks really good. At least in terms of preventing teams from getting yards and first downs. That's crazy. 153. The only thing is they didn't get any sacks, which is amazing with that type of stats. You would think that with that many stops, they would have a lot more sacks than that. That's crazy. All right. Louisiana Monroe. They beat Army 17-13. Man, that blows my mind. All right. So they've got 1 win. 17 points. Be 4-point margin. Number of sacks. Excuse me. They've got 1 sack, 2 interceptions, and 3 fumble recoveries. So 1 and 5. One sack, 5 turnovers. It's a lot of turnovers. All right, touchdowns. They've got 2 touchdowns and 15 first downs. So 2 and 15. Total yards, 298. Field goals, 1 for 2. All right. We're almost there. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 6 more to do, and we'll be done for the night. I was hoping to do all of them, but I'm seeing that is not very viable. I mean, I probably could keep going until 10 o'clock, but I definitely need to get off for the night soon. So we'll definitely get this done. We'll wrap up with where I think Alabama and Texas, how that game will go, and then we'll just go from there, and then we'll wrap things up and then call it a night. And then tomorrow we'll do a part 4 of this, and we will for sure be done tomorrow. I will make sure of it. I will work on this until late if I have to get it done, at least by Saturday. Like, I definitely needs to be done by Saturday, but it will be done for sure tomorrow at some point. So, and then we'll be good to go. All right, Minnesota. All right, they beat Nebraska 13-10. That one was a heartbreaker for Nebraska. 13. Oh wait, oops. 3-point margin. Number of sacks. Three sacks, 3 interceptions, and 1 fumble. So 3 sacks and 4 turnovers. So 3 and 4. All right. Number of touchdowns. So they've got 1 touchdown, 20 first downs. So 1 touchdown, 20 first downs. Total yards, 251. Maybe you should get an ad blocker for the next one. I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah. That would probably be wise. All right. Minnesota field goals. They've got 2 for 3. All right. Missouri. Or I like to say misery. All right. They beat South Dakota 35-10. And so they got 35 points. 35-10, that'd be 25 point margin. Number of sacks. they've got 2 sacks and 0 turnovers. So 2 and 0. 2 and really what I need to do is instead I need to figure out a way to separate what gets shown, like make it to where it only shows my spreadsheet and not switch it back and forth. Like if there's a way I can freeze it or something, that would be ideal, because I really don't want y'all to see me going to the ESPN page just because of all those ads that randomly pop up. But I don't know. We're definitely learning for sure. We'll get there. Let's see, total touchdowns. All right. Total touchdown. Now all I'm looking at is ads. That's funny. All right, total touchdowns number 5. And total first downs 22. 5 and 22. Total yards. They've got 437. And oh man, that just cracks me up. 0 field goals. Now I can't help but like see the advertisements. Maybe you can open up the other page on a second device. See, I tried that on the last one and it just was a complete disaster because my tablet that I used is not very good tablet in terms of speed. It's very laggy. So it didn't really work out. It was slowing me way down on getting the information. Otherwise, yeah, I would totally do that. And if I had a second monitor, even better. Like I might at some point I would love to have a second monitor. Now I do have a TV. It's hard to see because I have it blurred out, and I have a little backdrop that I handmade. Which that's an awesome backdrop, by the way. But my TV, I can use it as a monitor, but it's behind me and I don't really have the space right now to be able to get it right next to me. Otherwise I would totally use that and just look at the statistics on that page, but I don't know. We'll make do with what we have for sure. But these are good suggestions. I really do appreciate the feedback there. I will definitely do what I can to figure out how to keep the page from switching between the different tabs. All right, we're almost there. Let's get focused now. So we're on Nebraska. I really like Matt Rule. I think that Nebraska is going to be a really good team in a couple of years, especially with Oklahoma and Texas leaving. Well, wait, no, that doesn't make sense. I was thinking of Baylor. Oh, man, because Matt Rule was at Baylor. Sorry. I think that Matt Rule will turn the Cornhuskers around and make them a respectable team again. But I really liked Matt Rule when he was at Baylor. Like that, and that's what I was thinking of. I don't know why I made that mistake, but no, he did a great job at turning Baylor into a respectful team. It saddens me to see them lose their opening game this year. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. So Nebraska lost 13-10, so they lost. And really, like, they could bounce back after this loss. They could really learn from it, and they could become a really solid team this year. I mean, I think Matt Rule is that good. I think he may have a rocky start, but I think that they could easily be an 8-4 team this year. Maybe a 7-5. But I mean, a winning record's a winning record, so may not be the greatest winning record, but it would be a winning record. All right, point margin -3. All right, touchdowns, field goals, sacks. So they got 3 sacks, 1 interception. So 3 sacks and a turnover. 3-1. All right, total touchdowns. Total touchdowns. They got 1 touchdown and 18 first downs. 1 touchdown. 18. And they've got total yards, 295 total yards. And I would imagine they've got 1 field goal. Yep. All right, just 3 more to go. We're almost there. All right, New Mexico, Lobos. So they lost to Texas A&M 52-10. And 10, 52. That would be minus 42 point margin. It's kind of sad because, like, so I am gonna, whenever after everything, the dust settles with the conference realignments, I've decided to pick a team from each conference that I would be rooting for, and I can't remember what conference New Mexico is. Probably like Mountain West or something like that. But whatever team New Mexico is, that's actually one of the ones that I picked to be like my favorite for that conference. So I'm gonna have one for Mountain West, the conference, SEC being Oklahoma, of course. Big 12 is probably gonna be UCF. I really like UCF, so I definitely will pick them as my favorite Big 12 team. Big 10 is Nebraska. ACC, what did I pick? Oh, NC State is my favorite ACC team. And I know I'm missing some, like Sun Belt and all those other conferences. I can't remember who I picked for those other conferences, if I'm being honest. But those are the main ones. But I do know New Mexico is one of them. So, all right, number of sacks. 2 sacks and 0 turnovers, so 2 and 0. All right. Number of touchdowns, probably 1 and 1 field goal. Yep, 1 and 18 first downs. Total yards 222, and they're done. All right, 2 more to go. Oregon State, they beat San Jose State 42-17. All right. Points scored. What did I say they got? They 42-17. 42. That would be a margin of, let's see, 12, 5, 3 minus 1, 25. Number of sacks. They've got 3 sacks and 1 turnover. 3 sacks and 1 turnover. 3, 1. All right. Now, touchdowns. They got 6 touchdowns, 27 first downs. 6 and 27. Total yards. They've got 473. And total field goals. Zero. Oops. All right, last one for the night. South Florida. So they lost to Western Kentucky 41-24. So they got 24 points. And that point margin will be a negative 17. All right. Yeah. And number of sacks. They've got 0 sacks and 0 turnovers. So 0 and 0. They've got 3 touchdowns, 26 first downs, so 3 and 26. Total yards 540. And total field goals. They've got 1 and 1. All right. So we've hit our next stopping point for the spreadsheet. I will definitely get it done tomorrow. I will definitely, like, even if I have to stay up late, I will get it done on stream. It'll be done tomorrow for sure. Now, that being said, stay around for just a little bit longer. I'm going to, before I rank the teams right now, because I will go ahead and see where these teams end up at the end of today's work. But before we do that, we made it to Texas, which we did say earlier that we were going to talk about Texas and Alabama and what I think about that game. Kind of a little preview, a mini preview. I'm not going to go too in depth with it, but all I know is Alabama did what they were supposed to do against the team that they played, and they had a very convincing win. Texas, however, they played Rice, which is known to not be the greatest team in the world, and they struggled quite a bit. So it kind of shows that Texas, at least in the first week, has a weakness or has more weaknesses than Alabama does. That being said, I know there are other factors at play, like Texas could have been looking ahead to Alabama, not really focusing a lot of attention on beating Rice necessarily, as focusing all their practice time on beating Alabama. That is definitely something that could have happened on Saturday, but I'm in the prove it to me that you're back mode. So I've always been, like, since the preseason polls came out, on AP polls came out, I was just really blown away at how overrated Texas ended up. And I'm like, why? They didn't really have the greatest season last year, and even if they have returning talent, it doesn't mean that they're going to be better. I mean, you would hope, as a fan of Texas, you would hope that they would be better this year, but you don't really have any way of proving that they are better this year until they actually prove it on the field. And so, like, I would have put Kansas State ahead of Texas in my preseason poll if I did one, but like I just don't know where they got the number for Texas to rank them so high, like to be the number one Big 12 team on there. I would have ranked TCU before week 1 happened. I would have ranked TCU ahead of Texas. But for some reason, Texas gets the benefit of the doubt, and TCU, who went to the national championship, doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. But if we're not going to put Texas ahead of TCU, at least put them ahead of Kansas State. They look way more impressive than Texas. So all that to say, I mean, this is coming from an Oklahoma fan, so maybe there is a little bit of bias there, but I still just think that they compared to last year, like, they were like almost as worse of almost as bad of a record as Oklahoma's, and yet they were ranked so high. And I think, and if you go watch that video where I talk about preseason polls and how much I hate them, I criticize some of the polls, and I say straight up, Oklahoma, in at least in the preseason polls, was completely overrated. They shouldn't even been on the top 25 after last season. However, after the first game, I would flirt with the idea of putting him in the top 20. I mean, there is an argument there, but I would still be very hesitant to put them in a high in the rankings, just because of how they did last year. And so that being said, I think that Texas is really overrated this year, but they could prove me wrong. Prove me wrong on this Saturday. If you want to claim the we're back, prove me wrong this Saturday, beat Bama. But all that to say, Bama is Bama. They're always going to be a good team as long as Nick Saban is there. Doesn't mean they'll always win a national championship, but they'll always be a very good team, I think. So I'm just going to have to go with Alabama on this one. I think that Alabama, I feel like last year Alabama played very close to Texas because they kind of overlooked Texas. They didn't think that they had a chance. I feel like Alabama might be a little bit more on guard and actually have this game circled like, hey, we need to do a lot better than we did last year. And I think it's going to be a blowout. I really do think that Alabama is going to come out and beat the snot out of Texas. I just was not impressed with how they did against Rice. Alabama had a much more impressive win than what Texas did in their opening games. Now, I know, those games don't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but still, there was just a lot more weakness shown on the Texas side than Alabama's side. So, all that to say, I think it's going to be 48-13. I think 48-13 is where Texas and Alabama are going to end up. Alabama will win that game. 48-13. That's my prediction. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Once again, Texas fans, don't get mad at me. I want your Longhorns to prove me wrong. Cause come Red River rivalry, shootout, showdown, whatever you want to call it, it's gonna be a good one this year. And I want you guys to win this game because there would be a clear path to OU's making the playoffs if that were to happen. If not, there is still a possibility we could still make it if we go undefeated. But selfishly, that is why I want you guys to win tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, win Saturday. So that's, yeah. Prove me wrong. Then you can say we're back at least until you guys play us. So anyways, that being said, let's go ahead and go back to the spreadsheet here. Now, I didn't finish everything, of course, but I do want, like I've done in the last couple of parts of this series, I'm going to go ahead and rank them as though it's done, but just know that it's not. And so it's not going to be 100% accurate of where teams are, and there'll be teams a lot lower than they should be so far. But whenever we get it done tomorrow, I will have it done, and it will be the actual official week 1 list. It was a long time coming, but that's okay. So anyways, without further ado, let's see where these teams line up once I rank them. So all I have to do is hit the little rank icon and select sort A to Z. And now they are automatically rearranged in their new order. So, coming at number 1, we've got Ole Miss. Number 2 is Syracuse. Number 3 is Oklahoma. Number 4 is Cincinnati. Number 5 is California. UCF is 6. Auburn is 7. Memphis is 8. Arkansas is 9. Alabama is 10. USC is 11. Kansas is 12. Kansas State is 13. Tennessee is 14. Colorado is 15. 16 is Texas A&M. 17 is Pittsburgh. Tulsa is 18. Florida State is 19. Western Kentucky is 20. Tulane is 21. Appalachian State is 22. Oregon State is 23. Air Force is 24. Texas State is 25. SMU is 26. Florida Atlantic is 27. Notre Dame is 28. 29 is Liberty. UAB is 30. Miami, Florida is 31. Wake Forest is 32. University of Massachusetts is 33. Kentucky is 34. Georgia Southern is also 34, but technically they're 35 just because they're alphabetically ranged. And at the end of the season, if we do have some tiebreakers, I will break the tiebreaker with a random statistic on the ESPN page to break the tiebreaker there. We've got Penn State coming at 36. 37, we have Georgia State. 38 is Western Michigan. 39 is James Madison. 40 is Louisiana. 41 is Virginia Tech. 42 is Stanford. 43 is Arizona. 44 is North Carolina. 45 is UCLA. 46 is Oklahoma State. 47 is Missouri. Michigan State is 48. Vanderbilt is 49. Louisiana Tech is 49 as well. So we have a tiebreaker there. But technically Louisiana Tech is 50. 51 is Illinois. 52 is Duke. 53 is Marshall. 54 is Rutgers. 55 is Iowa State. Charlotte is 56. Ohio State is 57. I know a lot of Buckeye fans are going to be like, what? All right. Sorry, guys. Eastern Michigan is 58. 59 is Louisiana Monroe. San Diego State is 60. Houston is 61. Utah is 62. 63 is Minnesota. Jacksonville State is 64. Arizona State is 65. BYU is 66. TCU is 67. Texas Tech is 68. Baylor is 69. Wow, that's a lot of Big 12s. Just bang, 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 bang. New Mexico State is 70. South Florida is 71. Hawaii is 72. San Jose State is 73. 74 is Bowling Green. 75 is Colorado State. 76 is Boston College. Ohio is 77. Boise State is 78. Coastal Carolina is 79. UTSA is 80. UTEP is 81. Buffalo is 82. 83 is Utah State. 84 is Army. 85 is Akron. 86 is Ball State. Also 86 is North Texas, but technically 87. Nebraska is 88. FIU is 89. UConn is 90. New Mexico is 91. Central Michigan is 92. And that completes all of those. Now there are some teams that come at the bottom. So Rice is 129. East Carolina is 130. Indiana is 131. Navy is 132. And 133 is Arkansas State. So that's going to do it for part 3 of this spreadsheet. And I hope you guys at least enjoyed the first part of the video where I talk about the Oklahoma week 2 preview. I get it. Spreadsheets aren't always the most exciting thing, but I really like it. I like to see where teams end up based off of skills instead of brand names. That's why my ranking system is completely points based. Now, it's not perfect, like I keep saying. I've said it multiple times. I need to add more criteria for defense, and probably even increase some of the scores I give defense on some of those, because this ranking system really heavily rewards good offenses. So it's going to be not as accurate as it probably should be, but I do like the idea that it is completely 100% unbiased data. So that's how I would prefer teams to be ranked. Let the numbers speak for themselves. And that's why I'm doing this, is to do it in such a way where we rank teams based on statistical data rather than, oh, this team has been really, really elite for the last decade. Like, I don't care if you've been elite for the last decade. I care about what are you doing on the field now. And if it's elite, awesome. If not, hey, maybe next year. But I just care about one season at a time. And I hate it that so many teams, including Oklahoma, we get the benefit of the doubt just as much as those other brand name teams. And it really like upsets me, because there are plenty of other teams that are just as deserving of higher ranked spots than these brand name schools. And yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say other than I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I was really hoping to have it done today, but then I got to then I realized it's already 9 o'clock right now, and I was like, man, I'm gonna have to break it up one more day. So, and I will tomorrow. I will work on it as late as possible to get it done tomorrow. Like, even if it bleeds into Saturday, the only way it would bleed into Saturday is like if I'm up to past midnight to doing this. But I don't think it'll take me that long. I think I counted like 30 something teams to go over. So I mean, I think I got like, let's see, where did I start? I started at, oh, I can't tell. I don't really know where I started because I already rearranged the teams. So that's not going to help me out. But I got a decent amount done though today. So let's see, there's 90, 95, and 130. So 130 minus 95. What is that? $35 teams. So that's manageable. I think I can get that done for sure tomorrow. Now, it'll be a slightly more than that though, because of the week week 0 teams, I'm gonna have to go through and input some of their week 1 data, but other than that, we're very close. We're on the home stretch. I was really hoping to be done today, but I see now that that was not doable. But yeah, we'll get it done, and it will be done, and we'll have these teams officially ranked in the Wolf poll by the end of, or by week 2. So, all right. I think that covers everything. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave some in the, well, at this point, go ahead and leave them in the comment section of the video. Since we're wrapping up the live stream, I won't really see any of the live chat comments after this. So, definitely feel free to leave a comment. Let me know how I'm doing on the presentation. If there's something that you think I need to do better. Thank you, Dismer, for all of your suggestions. I don't know much about the ad blocker situation. However, I will try to figure out a way to keep the OBS Studio from switching to the other screen, so that way all you guys see is the spreadsheet. That would be ideal. So that is what I will try to figure out at some point. But next week I'm gonna try to think of some other things that I can be doing for next week in terms of videos, because I'm not going to be doing the spreadsheet every single week. That's just a lot of work. But I will do maybe my, like, I'll have some ideas for sure. I have some ideas kind of on the back of my mind on things that I want to do in place of this little series that I've done all week long. And so I will do that, and we'll finish this out. The next week we'll have some decent sports talk. And I'll probably even have a guest very, very soon. So not anybody famous, but still very special. He's my brother. He'll be coming onto the show at some point. We're trying to get that set up. We were going to do it today, but things didn't work out for him, so he went ahead and canceled. And so he'll be on at some point soon, and he and I will talk football. So and probably more specifically OU football, but we'll probably branch out and talk about other things as well, but that will be the main focal point. So I think that covers like a lot of my plans. And at this point, once again, I'm rambling. I ramble a lot at the end of videos. So, and it probably made this video like 3 hours long, but I mean, oh well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did and want to know the results of these teams when it's all said and done, feel free to subscribe. You don't have to. I don't want to force anybody against their will to do what they don't want to do. So but it would definitely allow you to keep track of where these teams end up. And then yeah, so I hope you guys, if I don't see you in the next one, I hope you guys have a wonderful week 2 of college football. I hope all of your teams do well. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. You guys take care. Bye.